Hey. Welcome once more to my YouTube channel. My name is Nshom, and today I'm going to be sharing on a very, very important subject that a lot of parents have been experiencing, and students are also going through that particular puzzle. And it is important for us to handle this once and for all so that our parents out there, especially those who are ready to send their kids to colleges or universities around the country or around the world should know exactly what to do and when to do it. It is high time that parents actually stop asking the wrong questions. Like questions like the wrong questions are questions like, which university is best for my kids or for my child? Wrong questions like which college is a good fit for my child or for my kid. Those are wrong questions, right? Those are not the questions that parents are supposed to be asking when it comes to making a choice of the kind of college or the kind of university that a child should go to. All right. So in this video, I want you to get ready because I'm going to walk you through seven questions that every parent should be asking. Okay, seven questions that parents should ask themselves before they pick out a college for their kids, before they pick out a university for their child. And when you don't ask these seven questions, I bet you can actually screw up. And you don't want your child to spend 3 to 4 years for an undergraduate program in a university and end up broke, not having something to do immediately upon graduation, and struggling financially. You don't want that to happen to your child. You wouldn't love to watch that happen. So that is exactly why I'm going to be discussing 7 questions that every parent can ask their child or ask themselves before they send their child to the university or to college. Okay, so for those who are watching this video from Africa, I just want to reiterate this statistic from the World Economic Forum, which stipulates that every single year, Africa as a continent graduates and send over 10 to 12 million, 10 to 12 million graduates into the job market every single year. And the job market can only provide jobs to over 2 to 3 million graduates in Africa as a continent. The case in the United States is slightly different. Every single year, many organizations are actually hiring new employees to come in as newbies that do not have college degree. More and more institutions are hiring people from high school to come in and receive some training on what to do than college graduate. What this means is that if you go to college and you study something you're not passionate about, it's gonna be of a burden to you more than a blessing. It's gonna be of a disadvantage of your resources, of your time, more than you can ever imagine. And don't get me wrong, if you love to go to college, do it, go for it. But do not study what to deploy immediately after you graduate from college. Okay. So, what are the 7 questions that every single parent should ask? And now, if you are watching from Africa and other part of the world, you should know already by now that if we have over 10 to 12 million graduates every year that are being deployed in the job market, and the continent can only provide 2 to 3 million, means that there's a big problem with the education system, okay, with what each person is studying. And that is why I'm doing this video. So the first question you need to ask yourself before you send your child to college or university is this: what problem will this degree prepare my child to solve? We are living in an AI era right now, as I told. What that means is that the rate of information available for your usage right now, it is beyond the geometric level. So information has become very cheap and easily accessible, to the extent that if you are sending your child to school or to college and he or she is going to spend 3 to 4 years in college and come out and not be able to actually solve real world problems, real life problems, then it's definitely of no need to do that, because all the time and all the money that's going to be invested is definitely not going to be of a great investment. All right. So the first question is, what problem will this degree prepare my child to solve? So you need to ask yourself. You need to my general the general thought that I have about this particular question. What problem will this degree prepare my child to solve? Is, what is your child passionate about? What is that thing that your child is naturally good at? Okay, so if your child is going to college or to university to study, if I'm you, I would orientate my child around what he or she is already very good at. Okay, so for instance, if your child is naturally talented and passionate about aeronautics, engineering, robotic engineering, and he or she is going to study that in the university, there is a high probability that even upon graduation, if they are not able to have a job in that particular space, they will not be stranded. They will definitely gonna create activities that can be income generating around that thing they studied and they're passionate about, even before graduation. All right, even before they go for their postgraduate programs. All right, so or graduate school. Think about that. Is what problem will the degree prepare your child to solve? So any degree that is not preparing your child to solve a real world or a real life problem, a problem that is plaguing the world, a problem that has to be solved, a problem that is of a high urgency, if that is not the orientation before your kids get to school, I will recommend you should rethink again and ask yourself, what is my child passionate about? What is my child really good at? What's my child talented about or talented on? And then think about these things, because that is the area that if a child can pick a degree on, the 4 years or 3 years will not be wasted. All the investment, the time, the money, and other resources that you're going to be investing in that particular child would never ever go in vain. Okay, that was the first question. All right. First question, what problem will this degree prepare my child to solve? So the second question is, what career opportunities exist for graduates in this field? What career opportunities exist for graduates in this field? You should not send your child to school without knowing the career opportunities that are actually available for graduates in that particular field or in that particular industry or in that particular niche or domain. Why? Because most of the time when kids go to school or to college to study things that they don't know the outcome of their studies, generally it would turn out to be that after graduation the things they would love to do would not even have anything to do with that what they studied in school. And come to think about that, I understand that it's going to expand their brains, it's going to expand their knowledge, it's going to really help them to be able to be more rational. That is okay. But come to think about, if they had to study what they were really passionate or really good at, it will not only expand their thinking faculty, it will be able to help them to scale up more businesses, more innovations, more ideas. All right. So the question here is, what career opportunities exist for graduates in this particular field? What are the opportunities available for that particular child after this particular course that they will study from 3 to 4, 5 years? Now, I want you to, all right, so come with me. Let's have a word. Statistics has proven that when someone comes into a meeting knowing exactly what he wants, when someone comes to a meeting with high expectations of what he wants to get from that meeting, most of the time they will always end up learning so much, understanding so much, truly being so impacted from that particular meeting that they attended. So it means that when you attend a meeting with an agenda at hand or in mind, you will always like to tick and to check the various things that you intended to learn, that you came into the meeting expecting to learn. Now, the worst thing is when you come into a meeting without an agenda, without knowing exactly the outcome of that meeting once it is done, because it could be done and you have no idea that this is done. What is my point? My point is this: when you go to college or to university to study what you don't know, when you go to university with a block mind, what happens is that at the end of the day, you can be fed with anything and you just take it. And when you take anything that you are being fed with in a university setup, the outcome most of the time is always chaos. And that is exactly why we have a lot of university graduates or college graduates whose jobs are literally jobs that any high school graduate can actually perform, even way better. That is exactly why in some countries in Africa, we have a lot of graduates that they cannot even explain in a single sentence what they can do upon graduation. We have a lot of graduates in other parts of the world that they cannot be able to do a practical task with what they have learned in school. They cannot be able to solve a real life problem with what they have acquired for over years, 3 years, and 4 years, and 5 years, 6 years, and 7 years. Okay, that tells us that there is a problem with some of the system that universities have put in place for people to go through. And so the question is, what career opportunities exist for graduates in this field? So you ask yourself, what is going to be the outcome of my graduation? What problems can I solve? What jobs can I create? What jobs can I actually be a good fit at them? If the answer is not clear, parents, you have to think again. If the career opportunities that your child will have to go through upon completing that course, if they are not very, very clear, this is a clarion call for you that you should think again about that particular career that your child is about to embark on. Okay, you have to be so rational here and so real to yourself that nothing should hypnotize you. And all of this will accumulate into you helping your child become the best version, okay, of himself. So, what career opportunities exist for graduates in this particular field? All right, that is leading us to our third question. Does this university prioritize practical experience or only classroom theory? This is another very important question and it's actually one of my favorites. Does this university prioritize on practical experiences over theory? You know, most universities in some countries, they spend a chunk of their time teaching students theory over practical. That is the reason, that explains the reason why most at times we have graduates, they cannot be able to solve problems. All they know is theory and theory and theory and theory. Give them a very simple problem to come out with a solution from, they will find it difficult to do that. That is a sign, that is a clear symptom that what they studied in university was literally or merely theory. And theory doesn't help. Theory does not help us to build systems or to build ecosystem or to build countries or to build continents. Theory gives us the idea, gives us the script on how to build it. But if you don't get into the lab to practice what you learn in theory, nothing can be done. Mark my words, nothing can be done. So if you're thinking about a particular university or college where you want your child to study, I want to strongly encourage that you should actually answer the question of, is this institution prioritizing practical over theory? Is this institution prioritizing exhibition over theory? Is this institution prioritizing exposure over theory? Is this institution prioritizing experimentation over theory? Is this institution students to master by doing what they are learning over dumping them with theory? Now they will just have to regurgitate and cram it before they could pass their exams. That question need to be answered before you can make a choice of a university for your child. And that leads on to our next question, which is question 4. How much debt will my child graduate with? And in the return, okay, is the return on investment worth it? Okay, you need to ask yourself this question and be honest about it, my friend. How much debt would my child? Now, for those who are in this part of the world, United States of America, or in the Northern Hemisphere, you understand that education is mostly kind of borrowed. So when you want to go to college, you want to go to university, you have to get what we call student loan. All right. So we have a bunch of people that after graduating from the postgraduate, undergraduate program, or graduate school, they undergraduate, graduate school, or postgraduate, they still have a lot of loans to pay to the government. They still have a lot of loans to pay to those institutions. And don't get me wrong, there's no problem with that. The only problem I have with that is if what you study was worth it, if what you study is going to be able to open you doors to the world, to the job market, so you can explore and get the experiences and the dream career that you actually studied for. That is my point. So my point is, if you graduate and be paying debt, you have to reconsider the university or the college again. Because after graduation, you're supposed to pay your debt back, of course, but you're supposed to be working and making tons of money from what you've studied. That is what will really encourage you to pay the loan without grievances, to pay the loan without pain, to pay the loan void of uh, bad experiences. You got to pay the loan. And so you don't want to borrow money and go and sit for from 3 years to 4 years plus, study some crap that will not be able to help you to pay the loan as you intended to pay. And you don't want to get money from a different source to pay the loan while you have the knowledge and you don't have a platform or a place where you can actually be able to exercise the things that you learned during your course or in that college or university. All right. So you want to ask yourself, all right, is the investment worth it? Okay. Is the return on investment worth it? You need to answer that question before you dive into uh, getting enrolled into that particular college. And then the fifth question is, what skills beyond academic will my child graduate with? This is very important. We have some soft skills like some soft and technical skills, leadership, and public speaking or communication, emotional intelligence. Okay? All right. So we have skills that they must have right now for every college graduate or university graduate, mastery of artificial intelligence, because we are living in the AI era. In whatever you're doing, you must attach AI, artificial intelligence to it. So the question is, upon graduating from that college or from that university, will you be able to understand how Claude works, how ChatGPT works, how Copilot works? Will you be able to build agents, AI agents that can be able to automate your work? Will you be able to put agents as a team that will work for you while you're away and you're still making money and you're still getting operations done on time? Will you be able to do that? And so ask yourself, how much of the AI is being incorporated into this institution that can facilitate learning? And on the other side, most institutions rather they're trying to scrap AI from everything that they're doing. And I'm sorry, that's not the way forward to the future. AI has come, and the good or the bad news is that it has come to stay and it's not going anywhere. So you better incorporate it into what you're doing as institutions than fighting it. Because if you're fighting it, I bet you that's going to be an exhaustive fight, and definitely it's not going to be a good one. So you will not fight, you're not going to be able to fight AI because it is here to stay. Okay, so what skills beyond academic will my child graduate with? So you need to ask yourself that question. And then second to last question is it, which is very, very interesting. Who will my child become after 3 to 4 years in this campus? All right. There are a couple of universities that they are not very good places for your child to study in. Okay. I don't want to call names here, but there are some universities that are really, really good environments and good communities there, well structured systems where students that encourage networking and teamwork, accountability. uh, leadership exposure, opportunities to connect, learn, and make a difference in the world. We have so many of such universities that who are you going to become after graduation, apart from the academic part of your studies? Which are the kind of people you're going to connect to? Which are the kind of classmates you're going to have that you can better change the world together with them through partnership, through networking, through sharing opportunities? Okay, which are the kind of places you're going to know? Which are the kind of institutions or companies or organizations you're going to be exposed to in the course of studying in this particular institution? Okay, you need to ask yourself those questions, because it's not just, one of my mentors earlier in my life shared something to me I will never forget. Mr. Atama Polina. He said, Oliver, one of the best things that happened to him during his university studies, this was way back in Africa, in Cameroon. He studied in the University of Buya. He said, was not just what he learned as a physics student. He did a major in physics and then a minor in mathematics, I guess. So he said it was the network that he garnered from the university. It was the life lessons that he was able to garner from the university. It was the unprecedented experience he had working with young people, connecting, learning life together with a bunch of other young people that were discovering things from the university. And that is actually some of the greatest memories that he had in the university beyond the classroom experience. Okay, so you want this to happen to you. What do you want to happen to your child upon graduation? What are the kind of relationships and friends and networks you want to see him belonging to? Okay, relating to after graduation, because university is not just the fun of going to school to learn stuff. It's also who you encounter, who you get to know, who you get to connect to and with in the course of the university studies. And finally, this is question 7. If my child graduates tomorrow, will they be able to create opportunities or only search for one? This is actually a very, very good question that every single parent watching this or who's going to watch this needs to answer. Okay. One of the reasons I believe that we do postgraduate programs and even undergraduate program is to be able to get educated, get knowledge, or gain understanding so we can be able to create opportunities for ourselves and for the people around us. And so it is definitely going to be of no interest or of no use for you to go to college or university and then you graduate and you're spending all your time blaming the government, the ecosystem, your community, your mayors, your councillors, your governors, instead of blaming yourself. We have a bunch of education deliveries out there. They're highly studied, well qualified, but they're doing nothing with the knowledge they've acquired from university or from school. And that is a disappointment to the society. Okay. I love the word of President Kennedy. Uh, he says something very powerful. He said, stop asking yourself what your country has done for you and start asking yourself what you've done for your country. This is so powerful. When you have that switch, when you have that mindset that you got to contribute, you got to give, you got to do something instead of something being done for you, there's no way you cannot innovate. There's no way you cannot create. There's no way you cannot invent. So the way to move forward, innovating, creating opportunities and inventing is by asking yourself, what can I do for my community? What can I do for my nation? What can I do for my continent? What can I do for my generation? When you start asking these questions, the universe has a way of actually giving you answers and solutions that can help you to create unprecedented solutions to long, long, long world plaguing problems that will be able not just to help you get a job, but to help you employ your peers and hundreds, dozens, hundreds, and thousands of people who can join you to solve that particular problem. So the question is, if my child graduates tomorrow, will he be able to get opportunities or still struggle to create opportunities? All right, will he be able to have opportunities or create opportunities for himself? So you need to answer that question. So, my friend, these are the 7 questions that every single parent must answer before deciding the college, the institution, or the university that they want their child to go to. I would love you to drop on the comment section which of these questions uh, connect so much to you. Um, if you're just joining me on YouTube, I will urge you to like and subscribe to this channel, because if you don't, you'll not be able to receive other videos like these ones that I'm going to be recording in the days ahead. Until we meet again, my name is Nshom, and if this bless you, I will encourage you to share it to somebody who needs to hear this. Yes.
You have lived through powerful moments. You have overcome and you have grown. Now it's time to tell your story and get booked for it. At Talks, we are launching a powerful platform called Tell Us Your Story. And it's a moment for you to shine. We will work with you one-on-one and coach you to be able to share your story with the world. And we will take your story, edit it, and release it in our platform, Talks. Let the world hear what you've been through and why it matters now more than ever. Spots are limited. If you're ready to turn your story into your stage, now is the time.